deep into nature and then you will understand everything better. That's according to Albert Einstein. Welcome to Expressions. I'm Jen Mattoni. All of our guests today find inspiration through nature. Our first is Jerry Acton, who's from Berkshire. He's won national photography contests and also been published in national newspapers and magazines.
We drove all over Tioga County looking for the right place, and when we saw this property, it was full of Christmas trees that weren't selling. We were just had chills realizing that, you know, we were going to be right out here in the country with 63 acres of wood and a place where we could put our horses, and I could do nature photography, and it was like a dream come true. When the builders were building our house, they said, "It's so quiet and peaceful out here." And I think that's what attracts us to this place.
Besides a new house, the realization of Jerry Acton's retirement dream also produced hundreds of wildlife photos that speak for themselves.
They're just so beautiful, such majestic animals. People ask me if I hunt, and I said, only with a camera. This is a courtship one where the male is coming in with a worm to give the female.
Yes, guys, you get to have seconds. Is that wonderful?
Wow.
Although excited to move from Endicott to Berkshire, Acton questioned whether a quiet life in the country would produce enough of the intellectual stimulation he needed. Acton is a former systems engineer. His wife, Lynn, is a riding instructor.
We've learned to enjoy each other's passions. I started out being able to almost tell a blue jay from a cardinal, and now I can spot a lot of the birds that he sees and tell even some of the unusual birds and different ages and stages that they're going through.
She's a saint putting up with my passion here, but you know, we support each other. In fact, she taught me to ride. I said, "You sure we want to do that, husband, wife?" I don't know, that could be trouble, but it worked out fine. This is Sapphire.
Jerry's horse likes to show off her trick. You know what to do. Let's go.
Oh, good girl, Sapphire. Thank you. Good, thank you. Good. You're a good girl. All right. Nice fetch. Yeah. I still can't quite believe I got my own website. I put little stories next to all my photos, and it puts the bird photo in the context of what was going on at that time. And I use it as an educational thing. The tandem goals that I have are to capture that behavior and experience it for myself, and then share it with lots and lots of other people. There's a baby bluebird kind of venturing out on its own to get its own berry. I love the juvenile. Now, this is one of my favorite shots, this male cardinal. This is my favorite, all-time favorite photo right here. The two bluebirds on that branch. There was a snow squall coming in, and the sun was coming up in the east, and it was just one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities.
Nature photography requires skill, luck, a lot of patience, and sometimes guts.
I was 3-4 feet from this skunk getting shots. I lost my nerve when I got about 3 feet away. My hummingbird shot, that weekend I took 500 photos, and 2 of them are really pretty good photos, but that's out of 500. And so, you know, it's not like you go out and snap these, you know, photos. You take one shot and that's it. I play with the light, I play with the exposure, I play with the angles. Taking pictures of them, it can be difficult and frustrating. You know, you get a lot of bad photos, and until I got my first digital camera, that's when it really took off. I've always been fascinated with birds. I mean, when I grew up out in the country. I roamed 100, 200 acres of woods and creeks and fields where I grew up, and I used to just sit and listen and watch for hours, you know, even when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. Photography just seems like a natural extension of that, to capture that experience in photos.
So what is Acton's secret to so many beautiful pictures?
A lot of people travel all over the country, you know, looking for this bird and that bird. My goal is more to bring the birds to me. I don't really like to sit up in the woods and not see much. I like lots of action going on. So I've designed this place to bring the birds to me. "95% of the photos on my website are taken right in the yard, and people are amazed at that. I've logged 105 species in our yard or within a half mile of our house in the 9 years that we've been here. I brought this as the top out of an old tree in the woods that already had woodpeckers all over it. I smear suet in it, and I get about 4 varieties of woodpeckers, and of course it's strategically positioned to get shots from my kitchen window. People think I'm out in the woods taking these photos, and I'm taking them right from my kitchen. They told me I'm cheating, but I think it's just part of the strategy. I have my little morning routine where I go out and put the seed out in about 3, 4 places, and then as soon as I go back in the house, they're putting on a show, doing their morning feeding, and they're talking and chirping and singing, and you know, it's just music to my ears. I mean, I just love it. So I'm like a little kid in a candy store when all the birds are coming in.
Jerry's very spontaneous. When he sees something that he's excited about, that is his focus. That is his total intense 110% focus in that moment. So when he sees a bird that he wants to get a picture of, he forgets everything else. He will forget the eggs that are cooking on the stove, the dog who's waiting to be fed, anything else that's going on, and he's there taking the picture of the bird. So I think that probably is why he's been so successful at this. He's really excited about it, and he can let go of everything else and focus totally on what he's doing in the moment.
Acton applies aspects of his former job in the defense industry, now to nature photography.
My career was a systems engineer. I started with IBM and then finished off as part of Lockheed Martin Corporation. Worked on mostly helicopter avionics programs down in Owego, and I thoroughly enjoyed that career because it's a problem-solving career where you have challenges of how do you put things together, how do you integrate systems together, make it user-friendly for the pilots and crewmen. What I found is the skills that I developed, the problem-solving skills, I use for my photography. I take advantage of the bird's natural behavior to get them to do what I want them to do. Behaviorally, I know that there's always more goldfinches that will fit on this feeder, so I figured they might wait on this stalk while they were in line to get on the feeder. And I put this over here, and I had those shots in about 30 minutes. This is one of the portable perches that I made.
Acton recognizes the polar oppositeness and the contradiction in the two fields.
I guess that's who I am. The big part of me has always been nature-based, and no matter what I've done and the rest of my life, I've traveled around the world. I always migrate to the nature and the sounds. They're in here. Whoop, hey buddy, that wasn't very nice. Through this work, I've made new friends, people over the internet. We exchange ideas, we problem solve challenging photography situations. So that's providing that intellectual challenge as part of this great hobby that I have. It just kind of grew into a passion. But I have other things. I mean, I enjoy the horses with my wife. I build furniture. I do the gardening, so I don't have time. I wouldn't have time to go to work anymore. I have to I just got too many things to do out here. I wouldn't change a thing. I just feel like I couldn't imagine being in a better place at this point in my life than I am right now. This is our little slice of heaven here. Yeah, that's the way we look at it.
It's much nicer than we had dared to hope for.
A human slice of heaven, a bird's paradise.
We'll sit here for hours on our porch and just take in the sights and sounds. It's uplifting. You know, that's the way I look at it. It energizes me to go do the other hard work things I have to do to keep this place up.
A quality of life and a retirement that is not just for the birds.